Dyer wave
3.
Our anthropology is not derived by human psychology or, empirical data from MIT or something like this. It's derived from the revealed aspect of what we see in Christology. And so there's no real way to diagnose man's problem and to understand man and man's anthropology, as I said, without the right theology.
All right, welcome y'all. What's up? All y'all cute little Chad nerds. Episode 2. The second. I dropped a deuce on y'all. Episode 2. I thought it'd be fun to cover some movies that we've never covered that were requested so many times. And I think we may do this too for some of these episodes, since we're going to be trying to cut these out, churn these out on a daily basis. That we would try to do. There she is. She finally made it. Are you ready? Come sit in the throne. The purple throne. Purple scissor up throne. The seats are coated in purple scissor so you can't get up.
Yep.
So anyway, yes, Jamie's going to be joining me for tonight's movies breakdown because she finally got us to doing the Batman, which a lot of people requested. Yeah. Let's do that one first. And then a lot of people requested Hide and Seek over the years as a mind control film, which it is. And I don't know how I missed this one. Somehow I missed this movie. We finally watched it. I can't catch them all. But before that, we will do Batman. And before that, I just want to remind everybody not to get your theology from Prince, because just a couple of the interesting lyrics that you probably heard in the classic 7. All 7, then we'll watch them fall. Stand in the way of love and we will smoke them all with an intellect and a savoir-faire no one in the whole universe will ever compare. I am yours now and you are mine, and together with love through all space and time, so don't cry. One day all 7 will die.
What do you think that's about?
I saw an angel come down unto me. In her hand she hold the very key. Words of compassion, words of peace. And in the distant, I'm his marching feet. But behold, we will watch them fall. And we lay down in the sand of the sea. Before us on animosity will stand and decree that we speak not of love, only blasphemy, and in the distance 6 others will curse me. So I think, Prince was critiquing the NWO, but Prince also sounds a little nuts.
What do you think that song is about?
I think there was a time period when Prince had a JW phase, so he probably got exposed to apocalypticism in a Jehovah's Witness phase.
Like Michael Jackson?
Yeah, and so, Jehovah's Witnesses are all about their multiple failed prophecies of the end times.
Uh-huh.
So that's my theory on Prince. Just reminding everybody, please do not get your eschatology from Prince songs. I know we got a lot of people out there in the audience who do. They literally have the Prince Study Bible. Right? Do not use the Prince Study Bible.
What about Diamonds and Pearls?
We won't go into that because
Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah, that's a weird song, but anyway, Prince is something else.
I kind of like it when he
I'm a big Prince fan. I think he's super talented.
But did you remember that Prince did the soundtrack for Batman?
Well, no, I didn't remember Bat Dance, and I didn't remember what's the other one, Party Man?
Yeah.
Party Man.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so Batman was like maybe the second movie I ever saw in the theater. Land Before Time was the first, and then we didn't go to the movies much, so it had to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Did
I
you
went and
see
saw
it?
this in the theater,
Yeah.
and I remember everybody was talking about, this was just so huge, dude. This was like a Batman movie, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, Tim Burton is going to do Batman. Everybody's just crazy about it. And it was marketing crap everywhere.
Yeah.
You would see Batman super gulp cups everywhere. You would see Batman t-shirts everywhere. You would see Batman everywhere.
Yes. Oh,
like
yes.
nothing I've ever seen.
The yellow with the bat.
Yep.
Okay, so it was my dad who was really excited to see this, and after that, my little brother became like the world's first Marvel superhero fanatic. Like he would run around saying he was Batman or Clark Kent or whoever.
So your brother was the
Superman.
original soy boy, you're saying?
He grew out of that. He became something else. But when he was a little kid, like this took over his identity, the superhero stuff.
Well, it was intended to, right? At that time, that was it. That was
like he would wear the jammies underneath his clothes, like I'm Superman.
Well, if you remember when we watched Jingle All the Way, the superheroes are the replacement father archetypes.
Yes.
That's even referenced in that ridiculous movie. But
Turbo Man.
yeah, it's got to. What does he say when he's like, "You never come, you never come."
Oh yeah.
Remember? Because he won't come to the Anakin's
He's always too busy working.
kid stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so
typical dad.
You want me to get the Turbo Man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Turbo Man makes up for his absence, so he's got to get that. Yeah. So Batman.
All right, so Batman 1989. Going back and watching this was a lot of fun because it had these elements I did not expect. And yes, you can, as you can imagine, both Batman 1 and 2 and 3, which I did cover 3 maybe 2 or 3 years ago, if you guys remember that. I was in Florida. It was a live stream I did in Florida, and we did the Jim Carrey Batman where he is doing the mind control.
Oh, yeah. Enigma.
Edward Nigma.
That's so dumb.
And he is closet homo ero TICISM.
He does have a crush on
towards
Batman.
Val.
Yes. And then that's
Which
the
I
one,
didn't notice. Yeah.
That's one with Nicole Kidman and the dolls, and she's the psychologist.
She's the psychologist, Meridian, Dr. Meridian.
If you go to a therapist or a psychologist or something like that, psychiatrist, and they have masks on the wall and like weird dolls from foreign countries.
Every psycho person in a movie has masks on the wall and dolls.
You know, you have to find a different one.
It's an archetype.
I know.
By the way, that was on the Val stream, if you don't remember. We did a Val. I did a Val. You weren't in it. I did a Val stream. I did the Saint, Batman, and I don't even remember the other ones. But that was a lot of fun, actually, the Val stream.
Mm-hmm. So Batman starts at Monarch Theater. Surprise, surprise.
Did not expect the explicit reference to Monarch trauma, but when I did the Christopher Nolan Batman analyses, it becomes more explicit because Nolan implements the Carl Jungian archetypal trauma stuff. So Batman is Batman as his alter identity due to the child trauma.
Yes.
Hence the Monarch programming.
Yeah. And the Wayne family, so they're the richest family in Gotham City or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this episode of the Batman TV show where they were talking about Skull and Bones. And they were like, your grandpa was in Skull and Bones. And then he goes, no, he founded Skull and Bones.
That's right. So. That clip, she used to be on YouTube. You probably still find it.
Yeah.
So Batman comes from a Eastern Seaboard elite Skull and Bones family.
Mm-hmm. So Gotham City is the crime mecca of the world. Has too much crime. This is what's going on.
It's just basically New York.
Yeah.
And every like blue city hell.
Who's that guy? Lando. Harvey Dent is Lando. Remember, he's the
Billy D. Williams.
Yes.
Hello, what have we here?
Right. And then you have your organized crime syndicate, and Jack Nicholson is a crime underboss, but he's kind of crazy.
I forgot the organized crime element. Mm-hmm. It's been so long since I watched this. I don't remember that he's a mobster.
Yes.
Well, and he's got the police in his pocket.
And
there you go. Every time you see Christian Slater, you'll realize that Christian Slater is just an impersonation of Jack Nicholson. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he does the same things as Jack does.
Mm-hmm. He got jacked.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they've ever... I mean, they probably... I think he probably just picked somebody to be. Like, I can probably do well in acting if I just make my whole sort of persona a mimic of somebody famous.
Is anybody like John Wayne?
Yes. Kurt Russell.
Good point.
If you watch Kurt Russell in like Big Trouble in Little China, he acts just like John Wayne. Mm-hmm. Remember we noticed that when we were watching it. Well, he's got some of the same lines.
Yeah.
Facial figure. Oh, he does the same thing. Yeah, he does the same stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a detective in his pocket.
Right. The chunky dude.
Then you've got Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale.
I forgot her, yeah. Because it becomes Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Remember, she's
Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Yeah.
Is there a love interest in the part 2 with Danny DeVito as the Penguin?
I think it's Catwoman and Batman have a flirtation.
That's right. Exactly. So it is Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Why are we?
That's also Tim Burton.
All I think of when I think of Michelle Pfeiffer is her healing all them hoods in, what is it, Dangerous Minds? Remember?
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
Yeah, because that's the soundtrack to that stupid movie.
Yeah.
And Coolio's in it.
Yeah. That was a big movie of that year. That was a breakout.
It was a huge movie.
Like, they love those stories of, like, white lady teaching inner city children. Like, I don't know why.
Do you remember that we watched, what was it? There's that 80s movie that was like the same plot with the guy who goes to teach in the troubled inner city. And it's all these, in that one, it's not black dudes, it's white punk gangs. Mm-hmm. And they just go nuts terrorizing him, remember? And they end up trying to kill him in the high school at prom.
Was that like a B movie?
It's an 80s B movie.
Was it a Stephen King?
It's not. It's just an 80s B movie. It's pretty good. I forget the Class of 84.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Class of 85. That's actually a pretty good movie, but it's the same plot as like Dangerous Minds, just rehashed.
So
let's put Michelle Pfeiffer and Coolio in this, right?
Tell me why are we...
Yes, thank you. The audience is thanking you for the musical interludes. Because we probably have some zooms that
He
don't...
says, when I rap, it's cute/cringe. It's crude, right?
Crude?
It's cringy cute.
It's crude.
It's half awkward and half cute. So Gotham City is like Metropolis and Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
There's the Prometheus, the Hoover Dam, and it has Ayn Randian
All
architecture.
Art Deco, yeah.
You said Nolan movies Rothschild house. What does that mean?
So when Christopher Nolan shoots the Christian Bale Batman, Christian Bale's mansion is a Rothschild mansion. It's fascinating.
Okay.
Which I included in my analysis.
So he has sophisticated surveillance equipment. So Batman has all this technology because he is the... What?
Go ahead.
He's inherited this tech company from his...
Well, Wayne Enterprises runs a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And they have an R&D development that does all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
But by the way, thank you, Dangerfield. There was also the Tom Berenger movie, The Substitute, where he has to come in and put the fist down with
Who
a bunch
does?
of unruly teens. It's another one of the movies in the
Okay.
genre of the teacher who kicks butt.
What about that one Substitute Teacher? It was kind of like a comedy.
No, you're thinking of Summer School with Mark
Summer
Harmon.
School, yeah.
That is loosely the same thing, except Mark Harmon doesn't kiss ass. He just comes in to be like this just cool guy.
He's just coasting, right?
But he ends up helping them all out.
Yeah.
We could do a stream just on those. Teachers healing thugs.
What was that? Dead Poet Society. That's kind of like that. Like
yeah.
Radical teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I watched that movie. I don't really remember what's going on, except that it's that theme. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So this movie, Batman 1989, is very comic booky, don't you think?
Right. That was at the time when there was also Dick Tracy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't remember, there was this Warren Beatty Madonna Dick Tracy, which was a total flop. But one thing that they did that was weird was that they really wanted every scene and sequence to look literally like a comic book. So it's really weird cinematography, but it's a pretty terrible movie.
Remember the Batman TV show? That was the goofiest thing ever. And very Skittles. Right?
No?
Yeah. Robin just announced. Wasn't there something?
I don't know if that was intentionally the point, though.
Oh.
I mean, maybe.
Well.
But let's skip past that.
Okay.
We're on here. By the way, the second part of this, the other two movies, we will be over on Rockfin. So the way that some of these, since we're doing this daily, some of these will be shorter. So tonight's stream is not going to be 3 hours long. It's going to be 2 movies, and then we move over there because we're trying to do nightly content, put out more stuff. And it won't change anything to do with subscribers. Everything else will be cool.
So Jack/Joker, before he turns Joker, he gets he falls into a vat of chemicals. And so is this a metaphor for something, or because it's like the toxic chemicals turn him into the Joker, so they make him go crazy. And then he turns that on the city and starts putting all of the chemicals into...
Right. He has resentment. So he hates everyone because the system has made him who he is. So he wants revenge against the system and anybody that's part of it. That's why the Joker archetype is the just pure chaos. So in the Christopher Nolan Batmans, right, he brings that out with the Heath Ledger character, that he burns millions of dollars because he doesn't want money. He just wants destruction for destruction's sake. So pure nihilism.
I think the Joker is an interesting character, and there is a curse on that role.
That's what the story is, and that's one of the legends that comes out of this movie. Is Jack Nicholson told Heath Ledger not to play the Joker because it's cursed.
Right.
Well, then why didn't Jack Nicholson die? If it's good, I don't.
Well, maybe he's cursed in another way.
Okay. Well, I'm cursed. I have to go to every Lakers game. I can't miss a Lakers game. He has to go to every freaking
Oh yeah,
Lakers
till the
game.
end of time. He has to be there. That's your curse.
Doesn't he go to every Lakers game?
Yeah. So he's killed all the crime bosses. So he is neither.
He takes
He's
over
just
the-
chaotic evil.
Right, pure chaotic evil. He takes
Yeah.
over the organized crime. And then what's interesting that I didn't notice was, number one, the fact that his way to get back at people is to do binary weapons. So basically, he makes the makeup and products toxic. Mm-hmm. Is it just...
And the models start dying.
Right.
Like they get the Joker face, and then they die. And I wonder if that's like plastic surgery, kind of, because he did get the plastic surgery.
Yeah, he does get plastic surgery. Yeah. But it's also, I think, just pre-signifying or hinting at the fact that a lot of the corporations that push these, toxic products, I think they do it because of dysgenics. They're part of it. It's not just because they want to save money and put out toxic stuff. There's a deeper dysgenics element to this stuff.
Yeah, and they figured out not only were the products toxic, but when you combine them, like you said, it
It's
made a binary weapon.
This is a binary weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting. After he became the Joker, he would have to put on makeup to make himself look more. He would have to put on skin color makeup on top of his white face.
Right.
Right. And then they went around defacing the art in the museum, and he scarred his model girlfriend.
Well, what's interesting is that he likes abstract deviant art, and this is relevant because of the way that the CIA promotes the abstract deviant art during the Cold War as a form of cultural warfare. They would promote things like deconstructionism. The CIA would recruit deconstructionist philosophers in France as part of the Cold War, and part of that Congress of Cultural Freedom promotion of abstract degenerate art. And when the Joker goes to the art museum to deface and destroy all the art, he doesn't mention the CIA, but he talks about how this is true art. Real art is anti-art. So it's all inversion, but he explicitly is making a point about that he's the inverse of beauty. He loves the ugly. So
he's defacing the image of God.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why he's a kind of Satan archetype, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, you put psychedelic modern art in Jackson Pollock. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, Jackson Pollock was funded by the CIA. Andy Warhol got CIA money. Playboy magazine got CIA money. Miss magazine, the feminist magazine, got CIA money. All of these cultural liberalism of the '60s, that's all CIA. It's not KGB, it's CIA.
Mm-hmm. So we find out later on in the movie that it was actually the Joker when he was younger who killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
Yes. Yeah, that one was obvious. When he was just a thug, right?
Yeah. He was just a baby thug trying to get his thug pants on.
What does Latarian say? We just watched that Latarian clip. Remember that from the E-Bombs World's Day?
What's that?
I was just trying to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. They were like, do you realize you could hurt people? Yeah, but it's fun. I'm just trying to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
Yep, that's the Joker.
So, yeah, Jack Nicholson just trying to do hood rat stuff with his friend. They mean to kill frickin', Bruce Wayne Sr.
Those images stick out in my mind because I was such a young kid when I saw this, maybe like 8 years old. So when those pearls fall into the puddle, that's burned into my brain. Just different scenes from that movie really brought back nostalgia for me.
There's also a Crowleyan element to this sphere of things too that people forget, which I forgot because I remember somebody was saying the other day, hey, you should watch the series they did about Batman's butler, and it ties into Crowley stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they reference
Alfred.
Yeah, the series is about Alfred. I've never watched it. Yeah, the series about Alfred is Michael Caine in the Christopher Nolan ones.
Yeah.
When it becomes when it's his story, there's these connections to Crowley that are brought up in the screenplay, which they do on purpose, obviously. But another connection is that in Batman, the first Batman Begins, the Liam Neeson Ra's al Ghul character is based on Crowley.
I heard that. Yeah.
I read about it. I put it in my article. Yeah. And by the way, the League of Shadows, which is what Ra's al Ghul runs, part of the reason that is because if you remember, Liam Neeson went and lived up in like monasteries somewhere, and he's mastering the arts of the East. Remember Crowley did that too.
Yes.
So he's like a Crowley figure.
Yeah.
So the League of Shadows is supposed to be the dialectical Gnostic opposite of Batman. Batman is the Apollo figure, reason, law.
And technology.
Yes, Joker, Ra's al Ghul are the chaos, destruction, nihilism inversion of that.
Right.
And if you listen to the conversation between Heath Ledger, Batman, and Christian Bale, Joker says that. He's like, I'm your opposite. I need you, you need me. Right? He's like, we're the flip sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people like Batman because he relies on gadgets and technology and has no superpowers.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Anybody could be Batman if you have a bat cave. And
well, I guess, which I guess,
money, you can all be Batman.
I mean, if you're in the DC universe and you can't compete, how are you going to compete with Wonder Woman and the gods?
Yeah.
Well, you got to have like super tech.
Yeah.
There's no other way you're going to be able to compete if you're just a dude.
Do, 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 do. Who else did the music in that? It was Prince, and then it had to be some famous score.
It's Danny Elfman.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
am Danny Elfman, doing Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman.
Yeah. They did good. Let's see.
I mean, surely you can tell. I mean, everything Tim Burton is Danny Elfman music.
I just couldn't think
and
of
everything. Every time you think of Danny Elfman, you think of Tim Burton. So.
So at the end, Joker draws out the crowd with money and a parade.
He does this big party.
Yeah.
But his party is a trick to the gases.
Because he's been doing something like
biowarfare.
convincing people that he's like taking out the crime in the city. Like, I'm your friend now.
Yeah, and basically he's going to give everybody free money.
He's like
He's like Klaus Schwab. He's going to give you
Yes.
Well, I think we should have a universal basic income. Right?
He's an anarcho-communist.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
But then when they all come out to get their free money, he gasses them with gas.
Which is what every commune Marxist leader does, which is immediately purge his dupes that follow him, right? Mm-hmm. They always kill off all their followers.
Arkham Asylum, Harley Quinn, mind control.
Yeah, that's another element where it does bring in more MK Ultra stuff. If you played the Arkham Asylum video game, which I played the first one and the second one, I think, many years ago, they make it very clear that Joker has this connection to Arkham Insane Asylum because he's committed at a certain point because he's nuts, right? Mm-hmm. But when he's in the asylum, there's experiments going on, and he has a following of like freaks that are his fans. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going from memory here, so if you're like a Batman nerd and you know all this stuff. This is the
video game?
Yeah. It's the background to Harley Quinn. So in the movies, which are terrible, with her, Margot Robbie, she's like an MK Ultra patient. Mm. She was nuts, and she went into the asylum, and she comes out like multiple personalities.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Joker made Batman, Batman made Joker. Mm-hmm. They are yin and yang of the Bat logo. And
Heath Ledger literally says that in his dialogue in the Christopher Nolan Batman.
Mm-hmm. And this is interesting. It's actually based on another German comic or a story called The Man Who Laughs. Remember that?
I didn't know that. Batman is?
No, the Joker character.
Oh. Okay.
So.
No, I didn't know that.
There's a German character called The Man Who Laughs who influenced that. So I thought, Batman's as esoteric as any other.
And it continues too, because now I don't remember what the Penguin is up to. It's goofy, but there is like a conspiratorial element to it.
Penguin was a rich.
No, but I mean, what's he up to, right? I don't remember. But in part 3, it's a conspiracy totally with Edward Nygma using TVs to insert thoughts through the signals into the population
and suck out their brains to make himself smarter.
And if you watch the Christopher Nolan instantiations, it's also heavily conspiratorial too, because if you remember in Batman Begins, the Cillian Murphy character, who's Scarecrow, his deal with Ra's al Ghul is that he's going to release, both in Gotham's air and water, this hallucinogen that drives everybody nuts. So he's basically just giving them all LSD. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The burlap sack man.
Yeah, and he quotes Carl Jung in the movie. Scarecrow does.
That was a scary, scary character. I saw that in the theater.
Well, if you remember, Ra's al Ghul tells Bruce Batman, he says, this civilization, Gotham is evil. And he's like, it needs to crash. And so civilizations all have cycles of boom and bust. And he says, I'm just the agent of nature to come and do the crashing.
Oh, yeah. Gotham is like Metropolis. Gotham is.
And he's like an accelerationist. He's like, it needs to happen. Let me help with that. Right. Liam Neeson, the accelerationist. Somebody should make that a hashtag, Liam Neeson accelerationism.
Party man.
You know what accelerationism is?
They want to crash it.
Yeah, like
Great
the system.
Reset?
The system. Well, it's supposedly an anti-system approach that the only way that we're going to get out of this system is if the system collapses. So we should further its collapse.
Right.
That's the accelerationist logic.
Okay.
But it's very Machiavellian and it endorses evil. I mean, the elite already do that. So, that's what's actually going on. But, all right. So, tonight's next movie, as you know, like I said, we won't be going for multiple hours in the nightly streams. We're going to try to keep it to 45 minutes to an hour. And then, because we will also still need to do the hour 2 second part content, you can get that over on Rockfin. So right after this, we will be over on Rockfin doing The Knowing, the Nicolas Cage movie, which I don't think we've done. I mentioned it kind of quickly when I had my 30,000 or 40,000 party. We did a Nick Cage stream, and I talked about The Knowing. But I haven't done one with Jamie, I don't think. We haven't done it, have we?
No.
So The Knowing and another odd movie that we watched, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which is a bizarre 60s mind control, multiple personality DID type of movie, which was way crazier than I expected, will be right after this over on Rockfin. So Rockfin is one of our platforms that we are huge fans of because they have so much based free speech material that is cool and edgy. And so I forgot the Rockfin link. No, here it is.
You know what's interesting is, did you tell them this is just miscellaneous mystery movie?
Oh, well, so I thought we could do that too down the road where we may just, because we have so many, I have like a stack of movie analyses like this big that we have never done.
Because they didn't fit into a particular theme.
So they're not in a book and they're not in a podcast.
But we pulled these 4 out of the miscellaneous and they all kind of happen to have a mind control.
Yeah.
I don't know about Knowing. We'll get there, but
it kind of does. It's not
which
exactly.
one is the one with him where he gives his kids to the aliens at the end?
The Knowing.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's get to the next one, which was a unexpected mind control. Like, it was so much. Well, I mean, on the one hand, it's not directly about MK Ultra, but it's everything to do with the themes, the symbolism, the imagery of MK Ultra ideas in a movie that's not directly about MK Ultra. Although the Robert De Niro character is a psychotherapist or whatever.
Right. So this has been in the drawer for a long time, so you're gonna have to.
I remember it.
Me.
I've seen it multiple times. And by the way, stupid Vigilant Citizen beat me to the analysis is one reason I never did it. So.
Is Famke Jensen in this, or who was the girl?
Yeah, she's the lady who is helping.
Okay, so you've got Robert De Niro, Famke Jensen, and Dakota Fanning.
Who's the little girl?
It's coming back to me.
Right. So basically,
New Year's Day. Is that?
Yeah. So there's been a murder of the mom, right?
Down here, he killed his cheating wife.
Right.
So this
well,
is a
but we
mystery.
don't know who has killed it.
Oh, okay.
So there's been the murder of the mom, and Robert De Niro is a psychotherapist guy who's a single dad now.
Okay.
And yeah,
It says Mom says Cape Fear Line. Do you remember that?
yeah, I noticed that, but that's when they're at the cave. So what do you mean? Like you're getting way ahead. We'll start at the top.
That is the top.
Oh.
So it must have been like a memory or something.
Man, come out wherever you are.
Yeah.
Counselor! Counselor! Come out wherever you are.
Okay. Mother dies bloody bathtub.
Yeah, I don't remember what my joke was about I think that's the Cape Fear line, right? Because that's Robert De Niro in Cape Fear.
Oh, okay.
When he's chasing Nick Nolte.
And Dakota sees this. Mm-hmm. And so we flash to New Year's Day. She's in a children's hospital, so she's traumatized.
She's
from
traumatized
seeing
from
this.
seeing what happened. Supposedly it's the mom committing suicide, but she knows that Robert De Niro actually did it.
Okay. So you've got your classic mind control themes. You've got a music box.
Right, which is a trigger.
Yes. You've got your laws. La la la. This is a laws.
Definitely some cha-la-las at the beginning of this. Yeah.
There's too many triggers in the city, so they have to go somewhere else out in the country.
Yeah, that he thinks that if we move out to the country, maybe, she can heal. And the critics bombed this, but I have to admit, when I first watched it, I didn't get the twist. Maybe it was really obvious to a lot of people, but
I think there's some alternate endings on this one.
there
too.
are, and I've watched all those too. But what I'm saying is that the twist isn't an alternate ending. There's one twist, which I'm going to spoil it for everybody. If you've not seen Hide and Seek, spoiler alert, pause it right now. I saw some nerdy dudes on YouTube doing this, and I was like, oh, that's how you do it. You just say, spoiler alert, pause right now.
Oh.
Anyway, it is Robert De Niro who has the multiple personality DID. It is not Dakota Fanning or another killer. So the twist is just simply that the whole time you're trying to figure out, who's responsible for these bizarre events that are happening. And is it another person? Is it for a while you're supposed to think that maybe the kid, Dakota Fanning, is evil.
Yeah.
And then eventually you realize, oh, Robert De Niro has alters and he doesn't know what the evil Frankenstein Robert De Niro is doing.
Right. And this is one that's fun to watch one more time after to see how, because you think everyone's reacting in a weird way, but it makes more sense when you find out what's going on. There's a cave. She follows the monarch butterflies into the cave.
Yeah.
Which is like her repressed memories.
Right. So the memories get triggered by certain things, and the cave, of course, representing where things are buried or hidden.
Yeah.
And that's where, for some reason, Robert De Niro's evil version has stashed a lot of the evidence. So he threw things in there relating to the mom's death and relating to anything that might trigger the memories in Dakota Fanning. And so eventually, by the time she gets to the cave and, she follows the butterflies, which obviously it's totally the Monarch program. She has butterflies too. And I think there's imagery in her bedroom in there of butterflies.
Yeah, they're like all throughout the movie.
They're all throughout the movie.
All throughout the movie, you think she has an imaginary friend named Charlie.
Yep.
That Robert De Niro's trying to suss out what is.
Who's Charlie?
Yeah. Huh? But he's
There
Charlie.
is no Charlie.
And
There's no Charlie.
I mean, this is kind of terrifying when you understand what's happening. Her dad has more than one personality, and she has to placate and play hide and seek with the Charlie.
Right. So what we figure out later is that Dakota Fanning has figured out how to get along with Charlie.
I'm sorry, it's not Famke Jensen, it's Elizabeth Shue. Remember?
No, Elizabeth Shue is the neighbor who brings over the casserole. Famke Jensen is the person who's like the child therapist. Okay. And so when Robert De Niro dies, Famke Jensen at the therapy thing takes over her, Dakota.
So there's some imagery with some keys to the different rooms of the house, which is the house
is his
with the
psyche.
psyche.
Yes.
Yeah. You think it's Dakota Fanning's psyche, but it's actually Robert De Niro.
Right. So the keys are the triggers, the codes, the symbols, the imagery, things that. And if I remember, it may have actually been that maybe Dakota Fanning might have been taking and throwing the things in the cave that would trigger Charlie. That might have been why it was out there.
Because they're at the climax, it's raining and he goes into the cave, right? And he
And-
comes out as Charlie.
Well, he comes into the cave as Charlie, chasing her to kill her.
Okay.
Because Charlie is there and he's triggered, and when he realizes that this is what's been going on the whole time, he loses it. So anyway, he ends up. Go ahead.
There's something with cartoons, like, and the padded wagon. Do you remember that part?
Well, anytime in a movie when there's mind control or craziness going on, people are watching cartoons.
Yeah.
We pointed this out many times. So when Dakota Fanning is sitting there watching cartoons all the time and zoning out of her dysfunctional dad, crazy dad, there's always cartoons of mental craziness. So there's it's a cartoon of some mental institute.
But
It's like in 12 Monkeys when
like
they go
Bugs
in.
Bunny hitting himself in the head or
Yeah,
something.
it's like, or when they go into 12 Monkeys when they're in the mental institute, and they're all watching cartoons and everybody's acting crazy. It's
Looney
like,
Tunes. That's why.
because they're Looney Tunes.
Yes. Someone said Dakota Fanning makes a good vampire. That's funny.
We just watched the riff tracks making fun of all of the Twilights.
Yeah.
So by the time they introduce the Dakota Fanning character, it's pretty late and it's really funny.
We had to watch them
I mean,
all
they
just because they were
savaged it.
that funny.
Oh,
yeah.
they were, man. They savaged it. It's
roasted
great.
it.
And I had never seen, obviously, so back when Twilight came out, I mean, I remember going and watching the first one just to see how funny it was, because it was so bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's unintentional comedy on its own. Kind of like The Room. Like, you could watch The Room with riff tracks or just The Room.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's the same with the
I
first
want it
Twilight.
all.
Yeah, you could watch the first Twilight and just laugh at how bad it is, or the riff tracks Twilight. But then Jamie and I watched all of the riff tracks Twilights. And I didn't even know there's 6. There's 6 Twilight movies. Oh my gosh. And they get progressively worse, if you
And
can
he
imagine
didn't
that.
know. It was fun to reveal the absurdity of everything.
I had no idea how that stupid series ended, so
Yeah.
I was like, that's how they ended it, really?
Man. And the wolves, it was also stupid. And the muffins and the werewolves were making muffins. Remember?
What did you think werewolves would make? Werewolf, of course a werewolf eats bran muffins, duh.
Oh, man.
Okay, so
Back
definitely.
to Antique.
So to end this one, basically, there's alternate endings. Are we at the end or not?
Okay, so there's keys, mirror altars, all these mind control things, music box. She
Yeah, all the
dresses like
classic
her
monarch
mom.
symbols.
Okay, there was
That's a trigger if she dresses like the
Yeah.
mom, yeah. So De Niro basically remembers that the wife had cheated, and that's why he killed her.
Charlie is more like a demon than a person.
Good point. Yeah, it's not just an alternate persona; it's actually a possession by an alternate persona that's a demon. Exactly.
So there's dead dolls in the cave. Mm-hmm. Trauma causes pain, and you are left with the question: has Charlie abused her?
Yeah, we don't know if there is the component of the SCXUAL abuse, but potentially.
Yeah, and then the ending with the 2 heads is good and creepy. Do you remember?
That she drew?
Well, the dad, I guess he died, and she went to live with Famke Jensen,
Right, and so and then
she's coloring, and she's a little girl with
she
2
has
heads.
an alternate, right? So she's
Yeah.
traumatized, and it's intergenerational.
Yeah.
And the implication of at least one of the alternate endings is that Dakota Fanning now has the same problem as Robert De Niro.
Exactly. So pretty solid mind control movie. I mean, yeah.
Do you want to read the super chats? And
Sure.
so after this, we'll be a little bit. We'll go over to, may not be exactly at 8. We'll be doing the knowing and whatever happened to Baby Jane. 30, 45 minutes over there on Rockfin. Rockfin is our subscription site, so if you want to go over there, and of course it will also be available to Jay's Analysis paid subscribers too, so you can watch our analysis of these 2 as well. You want to read these?
Orthodox Prepper, $5. Happy New Year, Jay. What do you think of trying to build in real life?
Oh, I'm sorry, I read him. That's the
okay.
wrong guy.
29 minutes ago.
Those 2. That's the bottom 2.
BB Sag, $10. Hello, Jay. It is Jonathan, great show.
Thank you, Jonathan. Longtime friend and good analyst. Shout out to you, Jonathan.
Hayden, $10. How can I argue the authenticity of the longer versions of Daniel and Esther to my Protestant friends?
Well, why would the longer version of Daniel be a problem? I mean, typically Protestants like to refer to things like the names of the kings being off, supposedly. But Jews would use the names of various kings in different ages to represent any of the enemies of Israel. So if that's the reason that they're doing it, that would be why. Bel and the Dragon is why. I don't even know why that would be controversial. I mean, Daniel basically debunks a fake dragon. So
Because it's not in the King James, maybe.
no, he's saying, how do we not accept the authenticity? It's not an issue.
He said to his Protestant friends.
The longer versions of Daniel and Esther are part of the Deuterocanon.
Okay.
So it's not a question of King James only.
Oh, okay. Marlo Darlow, $5. Jay and Jamie, have you guys seen the movie Motorama? It's a hidden gem I found recently that has a lot of spiritual, religious, and occult themes. I'd love to hear your analysis on it sometime. It's a fun and campy yet dark movie. God bless you guys. Motorama.
We'll write that down. We'll write that down here in a minute. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, when you said spiritual themes and esoteric themes and weird stuff, it made me think of remember when we did Jodorowsky? Mm-hmm. And then it made me think of that I hadn't done El Topo. But some of his are just so gross and blasphemous that they're almost too much
Holy
to watch.
Mountain, it took us a long time to get through it because we had to only watch it in parts because it was too weird.
Well, we did a good breakdown. I thought our breakdown
Yeah.
was really good. A lot of people who really liked that movie got mad at our analysis. They thumbed it down, but thanks to YouTube, nobody can see thumbs downs anymore, so nobody knows that. And then I did the same analysis with Burmis. Burmis and I did Holy Mountain, but I think we nailed it on Holy Mountain, honestly.
Burton Russell, $3. Have you heard about Terrence Malick's upcoming film about Jesus, The Way of the Wind?
No, I've not. We'll definitely check that out. So we need to check out Motorama and Way of the Wind.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're going to be also doing some De Palma films because I've never verged into Brian De Palma movies really, except for analyzing Black Dahlia, and everybody hates Black Dahlia. But next one.
Bartholomew Simpson, $3. Have you reviewed the movie Dick Tracy, Cool World, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The mask seems similar to them too. That would make a fun show.
Yeah, we were trying to think of eventually we need to do the cartoon related movies. And so yeah, Cool World, Roger Rabbit.
We were just talking about Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Who were you saying? You said Leonardo DiCaprio's new girlfriend looks like Jessica
No.
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Bezos' new girlfriend looks like
Jessica Rabbit, but with black hair, and she was hitting on Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, you said that, and I was like, really? And then I went and looked at her, I was like, dude, she looks just like Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
She was being so thirsty to Leo, and Jeff Bezos just had to stand there and take it. That was funny.
All right, so thank you guys. Fun show tonight. Again, I think
Come over to Rockfin.
Come over to Rockfin. And if you want to up that mojo, you guys know what we recommend, right? You can't beat the Tomcat, which is proven to boost testosterone in many studies. If you're looking for mineral addition to your mineral negligent diet, because everybody has mineral negligent diet. By the way, she's not taller than me. I'm just like slumped down in this throne. Everybody's like, remember how when I had the lawn chair, I was like, wait,
Yes.
I was like down here.
Yeah, and
You
were
were like 6 foot tall. above me.
Mario.
I got the mushroom. You need the daily to boost the supplements. Well, if you're lacking nutrient density, which most people's diets are, then the daily, the ashwagandha is good for mental clarity. You've been taking the ashwagandha. What do you think? Good stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mood's been better.
Yes. I was like, you're moody. Take this. Right?
Uh-huh.
And so now she's not. As you can see, look at this pleasant smile. And that's as a result of the chalk ashwagandha. There's also Action 2.0 if you're wanting just generally more energy, right? And if you're looking for mental clarity, there's also the Shilajit, which I recommend. Still taking the Tomcat. Still taking the, What do I take? I take the Daily and the Tomcat. That's what I like the best so far. And I have a lot more energy, so you're wondering why. How are you going to put out so much more content? Well, thanks to Chalk.com. Go over there to Chalk.com. CHOQ, it's in the show description. And put in the promo code J60 and you get 60% off. Can't beat that, dude. 60% off. And then the other two will be tonight on Rockfin and also then available tomorrow, hopefully, to subscribers to Jay's Analysis. We'll be doing The Knowing and we'll be doing Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.